I have gotten very positive reactions in the newspaper. I haven't actually talked to many government officials about it. But, you know, it's not inconsistent with many things they've said. They say they want to deregulate the energy markets. They've got a letter committing themselves to privatizing these companies, so I don't know why there would be a big disagreement with it.
Just to be sure that I understood right, private management for a state-owned company, does it match? Does it work?
I think private management by a state-owned company that it's becomingly privately owned is what I'm after. In other words, the state-owned companies need to become increasingly privately owned. Petrom is a great example. Petrom is a success because it was a state-owned company that privatized. And the management, you know, Mariana Georgiou was not chosen by the Minister of Economy. She was chosen by the board of OMV Petrom. That's the way to do this. And they chose the best woman for the job because they made the decision, not the government making the decision.
Mr. Ambassador, it looks like Franklin Templeton is more upset of what is happening at Hydroelectrica with 200 million euros lost in not so good contracts. They are more upset than the Romanian people. How do you explain this?
That's because the Romanian people are not invested in those companies. The only way they're invested in those companies is through their tax dollars and through politicians and government bureaucrats. They ought to be directly interested in those companies. They should be selecting the board members themselves because they're in pension funds or mutual funds that are invested in these companies and are choosing the board members. That's the right way to do this. Then the board members in turn choose the managers. You do that, you squeeze all the politics, all the oligarchs, all the barons, you squeeze them out of the system because it could be that there's a baron out there or an oligarch that knows a lot about energy and should be hired as a manager or who is an investor, and that's fine. But as long as they're making the decisions based on the economic interest of large numbers of investors, which is what you would have if you had mutual funds or pension funds owning these private these energy companies, and these energy companies became private entities. That's the way to solve this problem. They should be subject to regulation. You shouldn't make it so that any foreign country can come in and buy one of these energy companies. There's a way to protect that as well. In the United States, we have a very elaborate scheme called Exxon Florio, which allows the President of the United States to veto a sale if he or she feels it's a threat to national security involving a real national asset. I mean, you can't go in the United States and buy an M1 tank, or the company that builds M1 tanks. You can't do that. There was the infamous Dubai port transaction in the United States where Dubai was trying to buy one of our strategic ports. That was blocked. You should be able to block that. But otherwise, it should be done in the private sector.